Ezra, the first thing I'm going to ask you about, the prosecutor asked you some questions regarding Mr. Sipples and if he seemed familiar to you. Do you remember those questions?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And I'm going to play very briefly the part of this discussion with Detective Prock where you were asked that, the same area that the prosecutor asked you, okay? This would be DOJ L, right? From, do you have the exhibit number? We need to say the exhibit number for it. Okay, I'm sorry. And that's at 50 seconds, Mr. DeFort.
Okay.
45 seconds, excuse me.
If you want it with the text on it, I have
289,
it.
okay.
I
that's
have it
fine.
available if you'd rather do
No,
that.
we don't, we have the tape. If it's not Exhibit 289, Judge, we'll clarify the record later. Okay, it is Exhibit 289, I'm sorry. All right, so we're going to play this very short, roughly 15-second portion for you.
From the 45-second mark to the 65-second mark, Your Honor.
Great.
20 seconds.
Thank you.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you to listen very carefully,
Yes.
and if you need us to replay it again, we'll do that, okay?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Go ahead.
Press and play.
He's here as well to try to figure out what in the world happened. I mean, how you ended up at Don. I met Don.
What's his last name?
Spiegel. Spiegel?
Simple.
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 Sipple.
Simple.
Sipple.
Sounded familiar to me because
Yeah.
I had a teacher with the last name Sipples.
Yeah, so that's,
Stopped it at the 105-minute mark.
Were you able to hear what you said?
Yes.
What did you say on that tape? Because it's very difficult to hear.
Quietly, I said, Sipples is a familiar last name to me. I had a teacher with that name.
Okay, so it had nothing to do with actually being out in that area or knowing the
No,
farmer,
I
Mr.
had no
Sipples.
idea where I was or who he was.
Okay, thank you. All right, my next question is about this. The prosecutor asked you about one particular text that you sent to Jason Mangle where you said Alex was afraid of you,
Yes.
right? And what did you mean by that when you texted Jason?
During those messages, it was at a time when I was very frustrated with the situation and things Alex might have been saying at races. And out of frustration, I just said, Alex is afraid of me. And what I meant by that is that I know Alex very intimately. And like anyone else, he spoke a lot about his coworkers. I didn't mean he was physically afraid of me in any sense, just that if I had to, I could expose him for all of the things he was saying about others.
Okay, so it was kind of afraid of that you would gossip?
Yes.
Would that be kind of a reasonable explanation?
Yes.
All right, then I just have a few questions I'm going to ask you about the journals, and I'm going to have counsel help me put it on the Elmo while I'm asking you the questions, okay?
Yes.
And that way I think it'll go a little quicker.
Tell me the entry, please.
From the past memories, November 2017, DOJ 2485.
I'm sorry, what tab?
I don't know what the tab number is.
It's on the
Tab
top.
4.
No, it's not.
Tab 4.
Tab 4. Oh, I see. I'm sorry, tab 4. No, that's not correct. That's the first tab 4. It's the second tab 4. Okay, I'll do this here so you don't have to look up at the screen.
Thank you.
Okay? All right. So I'm showing you what's been previously testified to from the past, okay?
Yes.
All right, now, can you please read to the jury the underlined part at the end of DOJ 2485 before it says again DOJ 85?
Yes. Yet, as much as I lost it, I got my flesh back. I found death in another, and it was so incarnated in my power. My hands ran over her skin, pushing, pulling, groping for her, desperate to make her as mine as I was hers. I could pull her close.
Was this written about you?
Yes.
Okay. And then later on that page, I believe that I already asked you this part. I saw cannibalism where you asked to be seen erotically, and then you were asked by the prosecution, the next line, I was too Hegelian, or I call it such now, you were my master. But I would like for you to also, after you said you were my master, I was your slave, can you please read the last line that completes the thought in that paragraph?
Yes. You ask for the reverse to prevent the fear of death that took hold of me. You asked not to be death, but tomorrow.
Okay, so that concludes that. The next one will be from Delige et Quo v. Fock, tab 2 in the second set of tabs, or in other words, what we call love and do as you will.
Can you give that spelling to the court reporter?
Yes, it's Dilige, comma, ETQUODVISFAC.
Thank you.
Okay, sure. So, I think you did this before, but let's just read the first two paragraphs, okay? That begin
Yes.
that essay.
Love and do what you will. This is old advice passed down by St. Augustine. Rare have I obsessed over a phrase as I am now. It haunts me. I find an uncomfortable kinship with the saint. My life fits into a confession of sin, of belief, and of limitation. Every word, every breath, every sigh, and every laugh is a letter of love to you. I weep and pray, begging for forgiveness, because I really do love you, but I am unworthy.
All right, and then going down the page, right where it says DOJ 2483,
Yes.
can you please read that first paragraph that we didn't read before?
Yes. Over time, our monsters become us. The abyss spreads, contaminating all. Is it perhaps funny that this very guilty of being is what I am most grateful for? I thought I was born a monstrosity, unholy revenant. But that is only half true. I have met monsters, humans possessed like me, albeit in their own way. I continue to seek redemption, but no longer believe I am evil. I feel guilty, but no, I am not wrong.
Okay, thank you. Then the next essay, well, let me ask you this before I get to the next essay.
Yes?
Okay, wait a minute. I just want to talk to you. The prosecutor asked you
Yes?
about a bunch of questions about cannibalism and power, right?
Yes.
And I think what he asked you, and I'm paraphrasing, so it's not going to be the exact words, is he said that Alex never connected cannibalism with having power over you, correct?
Correct.
And he questioned you about Alex not saying in his journals or his text anything about cannibalism, right?
Yes.
And about not saying anything about having power over you, correct?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to turn your attention to an essay written on January 10th, 2018 called Giving Space.
Yes. I'm familiar with that one.
DOJ 2546,
Yes.
counsel, page 50, second to last sentence to the bottom.
Just give me a second here.
Sure.
Second last, yes.
Second to last line. Can you read the second to the last line? Or actually, start with the one before, with the word say.
Say that I come to absolutely know you, but you do not know me. This I gain complete power over you, and you will lack the ability to resist me. Would you like
The
me
next
to continue?
sentence, please. Just the
This,
next sentence.
This is the case even if absolute knowing was reciprocal.
Thank you. Was that about you?
Yes.
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
Did Alex discuss this passage with you?
Yes, of course.
The particular passage that he wrote, what did he tell you about it?
The name of the passage, what was that again?
It's called Giving Space.
Yes, we spoke about this one often. He titled it Giving Space in particular because I was still in a relationship with Jason at the time, and as he writes in this passage and a few others, he writes about how he necessarily didn't want to give me space, but he was willing to do so, and at times he did give me space.
Did he express at all that he wanted to have power over you so he didn't have to give you space?
Yes.
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
To be saved.
All right.
Okay. And that's dated November 24th.
Yes.
Okay. In to be thanked, on the second paragraph.
Yes.
Okay, can you just write, you might as well just read the whole second paragraph.
All right.
I think it's easier to set in context.
So, imagine my surprise at being thanked for a gift I didn't even know I had gave. Thank you for loving me. What an odd kind of gratitude. It wasn't as if I had gave you love in altruistic hopes of helping you, nor was it like I had put off any effort or lost anything by
Actually,
loving
that's
you.
had put any effort, right?
No, yes,
It's
I had
not
put any effort or lost anything by loving you. I am not even sure that I do love you, yet I feel that I can do what I want, which is, I suppose, a sort of indication that love is occurring.
Okay, and then later down that page,
Yes.
at DOJ 2501, as he comes and talks to can you just read the line that is in the middle paragraph that begins with the word I?
Yes, I insist on this. I was only doing what I wanted. That you got something out of it was a plus, and this, I swear, is at least half of the truth.
All right, and then finally, going to the bottom of that page, at GOJ 2502, the sentence that begins again with the word I.
Yes, I am caught between doing as I want and obeying what another, responding to another's desires. Would you like me to finish?
Sure.
And so, quod vis fact is only half the answer. I may be doing what I want for my own sake, but part of this is doing what you want for your sake.
Okay. That's all. I'm going to ask you about the journals. I just have one other brief question, okay?
Yes.
When you were talking to Detective Prock, and I know you have no independent memory, so I'll just
Yes.
show you the transcript in order to assist you, all right?
Thank you.
That would be Exhibit 290, Counsel, and we are looking at page, oops, I lost the page.
16.
Page 16, I'm sorry.
Wait, what page?
Page, let me ask this, do you, and I will show you this.
Yes.
What page, counsel?
I'm gonna start actually at page 15, line
15?
672.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you see here that Detective Prock said, when you see the things that have happened in the past, what do you mean? Do you
Yes.
see that he asked you about that?
Yes.
Okay, and can you just read the jury what your answer was?
Respondent. In the past, I've felt kind of uneasy about certain things he's talked about and stuff like that.
And then you were asked, like, by Detective Prock, like, what he has talked about?
Yes.
And what did you say?
Respondent, just kind of his way of thinking
Okay, and he says, okay, and then what do you say then? You're continuing your sentence.
and stuff because he likes to think about philosophy a lot.
And Detective Prock again says, okay, and then what did you say?
I said, and I don't really agree with the philosophies that much because they're just they're very negative philosophies. It's a kind of like take as much as you want kind of philosophies and stuff like that.
All right, so you did bring up his philosophies.
Yes.
what's more in your mind? His written words or your discussions with Alex?
Our discussions,
Were the discussions much lengthier than just reading what he wrote?
of course, after we would read something together, then we would have a long hours, sometimes early into the morning discussions about what certain things meant or just our views on these things.
Okay, I have no further questions.
All right, Counselor, ready for redirect?
Yes, you're,
I think you mean recross.
Let me recross, you're right,
Recross.
thank you.
yep. Let's actually start with, you still have Exhibit 697 up there, or did you ever have that? You didn't have?
No, I brought it back. and-
Okay, that's all right.
Judge, I'm gonna object to anything that's not within the scope of the selections that were,
I don't intend to ask anything that's not in the scope of what was asked. Thank you.
okay.
Very good, thank you.
I've given you Exhibit 697.
Thank you.
Let's start at tab 8, to be thanked. When you're there, let me know.
Sorry. To be thanked is tab 6 in mine.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
Thank you.
Tab 6.
Yes.
All right. So you read this part of this paragraph that starts, or that has, I am caught between doing. You recall that?
One moment, please.
That's towards the bottom of page 25.
Yes.
All right. So let's just continue on. I'm going to read the remainder of that paragraph.
Yes.
Reads, indeed, the mix produces a series of odd formulas.
Yes.
1, I do what I want for my sake.
Correct.
2, I do what you want for my sake.
Correct.
3, I do what I want for my, I don't do what I want for my sake, correct?
Correct.
I don't do what you want for my sake.
Correct.
I do what I want for your sake.
Correct.
I do what you want for your sake.
Correct.
I don't do what I want for your sake.
Correct.
I don't do what you want for your sake.
Correct.
And then it continues, at least 8 combinations of what you or I want for your or my own sake. And to be transparent, I am not quite sure I can tell them all apart. I have
Correct.
relapsed to do what I want by convincing myself that I really don't want to do it. And I have done things for myself possessed by the notion that it was for your sake. Too
Correct.
often, we confuse our own desires with another's, but the reverse is just as true. Correct?
Correct.
All right. Let's go to from the past, which would be tab 4 of the second set of tabs. This, when you're there, let me know.
I'm there.
All right. The full title of that is, by the way, From the Past, quote, Memories, close quote, / November 2017, and then paren, reworked from July 24, 2017, close paren, correct?
Yes.
And you did not know the defendant, I'm sorry, you did not know Alex on July 24th of 2017, correct?
Yes.
You, in fact, I think your testimony was you met him in August of 2017, correct?
I don't know if that is correct. I'm sorry, I don't remember at this point.
Well, you testified you met him the day he wrote an entry that was dated August 6th of 2017, right?
Yes, I had read that at that time.
And that's the day you said you met him, correct?
Yes.
All right. And didn't you testify yesterday that this one was about someone else, someone he knew before you?
Yes.
And in fact, the first or the third paragraph of that said, when I had my first partner, correct?
Yes.
And you were not his first partner, correct?
No.
Is that no, or that?
She said no.
disagree, or no?
Oh,
Is it correct? Is it, yes, was he correct or not? I'm not sure.
no, I was not his first partner.
Okay, thank you.
Let's move to giving space. Which is tab 19.
I'm there.
You read a portion of what is the last paragraph on page 50. What I just want to do is I'm going to continue on from there. Alex writes, we'd become utterly powerless before one another, and our flaws would be utterly vulnerable. We would cease to see one another and merely see the facts.
Correct.
Two is wood, correct?
Correct.
Two is would dissolve into a we without hope of liberation. No distance is needed ethically, correct?
Correct.
You were asked some questions about Exhibit 290 and your statements where you talked about Alex's philosophies, correct?
Yes, was that the
Right.
transcript?
All right. And you never mentioned in that time anything about his journals, correct?
His journals were his philosophies to me.
You didn't say he wrote essays, he wrote journals. You really need to take a look at those. They're really weird.
No.
I want to talk to you about the Instagram where you
Judge,
said,
that's not within the scope.
if council would let me complete my question,
complete
it
your
clearly is. The Instagram where you said that Alex was scared of you.
Yes.
Clearly council within the scope. Thank you.
If that's all you're going to cover is that line, I
No, I'm going to
apologize.
talk about it in context. Could I have Exhibit 420?
No, Judge, then I am
It's
going to
over here.
object. I am going to object.
420.
So we need to approach the bench.
All right, just give me a moment. All right, the objection is overruled with some qualification provisions.
So we're at DOJ 51.
So wait, we need to get our copy of the exhibit. So we need, okay.
That's right.
Well, we're going to use it in here.
You may or may not.
Oh.
Now, you said that that Alex was afraid of you because he would be concerned about, or because you could expose things about him to his coworkers. That was your testimony on redirect?
Yes.
You never said that in that Instagram conversation, did you?
I assumed it was implied.
I'm sorry?
I assumed at the time it was
You didn't
implied.
say it in your Instagram.
I directly did not say that.
In fact, what you said was you wanted your last word, correct?
Yes.
You said you wanted to return a book he gave you because it just pisses you off, correct?
May I see the texts?
You said you were afraid you might punch him in the face if he gave you a look, correct?
Out of frustration, I said that yes.
And you told Jason in this, you might punch him in the face if he did his sarcastic, "you're dumb" voice, correct?
Yes, I said that out of frustration.
And you told Jason that you wanted to tell him to stay out of your life, correct?
Yes, I was very angry in that conversation.
And you wanted to tell him how much you regretted meeting him, correct?
If it's in the text, then yes, I said that.
And then you said, "he's scared of me," correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Nothing else.
Okay, is that it for recross?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and Ms. Vishney, again, the court, as part of the overruling your objection, was to give you an opportunity for a short additional
Yes.
redirect limited to that exchange.
Okay, as far as that exchange, let me ask you this. When you were alone with Alex for 45 minutes in his house, did you punch him in the face?
No.
Nothing further.
Okay, all right. Ms. McCandless, you may step down and
Thank you.
return to council table.
A minute.
Your Honor, yes, we're ready to go. We have a recording that believes there's no objection to our playing.
All right, is this the recording of the Trooper Timothy, or Trooper Knudsen, I don't know what his first name is, Trooper Knudsen's squad recording?
Yes, Your Honor,
Or,
this is.
I guess for the State Patrol, we say cruiser recording.
Fair enough. This
All
is
right.
the recording from State Trooper Timothy Knudsen. I'll be downloading the digital version of that to provide to the clerk over the lunch break. But the next exhibit number is,
705.
so this will be Exhibit 705 is this recording, and I will cue it up and play it then, Your Honor. The intent, Your Honor, is to play it from the 6-minute and 50-second mark until the 42-minute and 35-second mark, for reasons I believe will be obvious once we begin watching the video. It's a video and audio recording, Your Honor.
Oh, tell Eric, because he's playing it, okay.
Judge, just for context, if it wasn't clear, this is again, State Trooper Timothy Knudsen's squad cam recording from March 22nd, 2018, the initial response to Farmer Don Sipples' residence after the farmer's call to 911.
All right, and council reached an accommodation, there's not an objection.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm a trooper citizen with the Wisconsin State Patrol. Okay. Are you, where are you hurt from right now?
Everywhere.
Everywhere? Okay. Alright, ambulance is on their way out too, alright? You bleeding heavily from anywhere? No?
No.
Yeah. My door. There's something around here. Can you find that? Everybody else can slow down. You did that. She said she walked a lot later. She don't want to shoot you. What's for you in a car accident? No? Can you give me your first name at least? You don't know your first name?
No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, we're here. Is this okay? Mark that system on. It's okay. We're all checking out here in Montclair. Optional there? I don't know if you walk. It's from
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
in a car accident? You know which way she came from? No, I just saw her come here every day. Yeah, which way did you walk from?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
You seem to get a lot. I'm just take it back a little bit, okay? The whole issue was attacked. Okay. Got it selling her out one. Okay. Ma'am, do you know how far you walked? Are we talking a mile, 2 miles?
A mile or 2 miles or 3 miles. I don't know. It's cold. I don't know.
Is this the first house that you came to?
No, nobody's talking to her around and I need to go find my car.
Do you have a cell phone on here?
No.
Do you have any ID on there? Or anything like that? Okay. Do you know if we have anything else in your pockets, like any credit cards or ID or driver's license or anything like that? I'll hold those for you.
I can't.
Okay. In your pocket? Fantastic.
No.
Okay. You mind if I just lift up your sleeve here a little bit? Is that okay? Okay. I know I've got some scratches on here. Nothing else in your pockets that you know of? Okay. Lived here 8 years. Strangest thing I've done. Say you're from Eau Claire? Yeah? Do you know what your address in Eau Claire is?
No.
Okay. 1106 Monotony Street?
No.
You live there?
No.
Do you know how you got over here from Eau Claire? Did you drive? Did you drive here? So, did you ingest anything? Okay. What's less than you remember? How about we do that? Getting my hand? So, are we talking like a man? More than one man? You don't know? Did somebody throw you out of a car or anything like that? Do you work anywhere? Do you know what your first name is, man? Sounds like the ambulance is here. Can I check you out? Okay, I'll check you out. At least you got some scratches and injuries and some make sure it's okay, all right? It's cold out, so. Angel? Is it Angel Nelson?
No.
Is that your name? Your name isn't Angel? Do you know who Angel is? Is it a friend, family member? Can you tell me your name now? What's the ambulance? You hurt anywhere? Okay. I can't. You think we can take you out to the ambulance to check you out? Yeah? You want to walk or you want to do a car? Do you remember anything that happened? Kind of what I'm understanding? Yeah, I just... Her name is Monica. getting any worse anyway when you're talking to me. Okay. Lucky I happen to be home. She just moved. Down in the abdominal area? Down in the abdominal region? Okay. Okay. And you don't remember anything of that? Okay. Sorry. Well, we'll take you into the truck and we'll probably look at trying to, get you cleaned up a little bit, check the vitals and check you out a bit, okay? And we'll take you into the hospital. Are you from the area? No? Are you familiar with Menominee? She told me that she was from Alberta. Okay. Well, would you rather us take you to the hospital in Alberta? Is that where maybe you've got family? Yeah? No, we can definitely do that. Once we get some vitals on you there, we can definitely look at giving you some medicine for pain too if you should like that, We can look at starting an IV, maybe to give you fluids. I don't know how long you've been out. If you're shivering and cold, we're going to be giving you some warm fluids to try to warm you up a little bit, okay? Just take some nice, deep, easy breaths for you. We're going to do it. Are you fanning it outside? No. Is it parents there? How old are you? 19? Yeah. You still live with your mom and dad, or are you on your own?
I live with my dad.
Do you have a name that maybe we can give the deputies so they can contact them? Or is that okay? Do you know if you have any family elsewhere? Anybody that we can call for you? Jason? You know Jason's phone number? No. Do you know Jason's last name? What's Jason's last name? Mendel? Yeah, spell that. Okay. Yes, ma'am. You say you live in Alberta? How long have you lived in Alberta?
I don't know.
Where did you live before that? Remember? Minnesota or?
No.
Would it help if we got you on the cot and got you wrapped up in some warm blankets? At least we can get you warm. So maybe that'll help. We got a real good heater in the back of the ambulance. Okay. Does that sound okay? Yeah, all right. Do you need help walking to the cot over here? I would love me to use that chair. Mr. Adams, we'll carry her up. Does that work for you? You just sit on the chair and we carry you? Okay. Where do you want to walk? Yeah. Feel good. Is that your blanket? Is that your blanket? Yeah. Just take it. Yep. Yeah, it's kind of more, yeah. Get some nice, with some warm blankets on you. Okay, I'm going to put the seatbelt down. Here's the seatbelt. Slip off the cot. And get you in the warm ambulance, right? We have a heated home. It'll get you warm, okay? Real fast. Alright? Okay? Good luck to you. Here we go. Hold up a little bit. Alright. No. Go back to this. Get you warmed up. there. I think that's a good idea, especially if you have family in the area. I know where you live. She was telling me she had a lot of company in the ground region. I got her there for the first thing. Probably sexual assault with her memory and stuff. Suspected and on board too. Let's see what we got for vitals here. Either one of you guys follow us in or ride with us might be a good option too, because I don't know how much is going to happen. Here he is with that. There he is. Right here, okay? Monica, this is our monitor, okay? This is what we're going to use to check your vitals, okay? Get some of these notes off you. If we can, I'd like to take the shirt off just so we can make sure you're not hurting anywhere and check you out a little bit, okay? I'm going to take this blanket from behind you, alright? Your clothes are pretty cut up, so I kind of like to make sure that you're not bleeding somewhere or anything like that, alright? You sure around underneath this, or check it? We should be happy with you. We'll keep that one. Alright. Just gonna put a blood pressure cuff on your arm here, okay? Do you have any allergies? Joe might have asked that already. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. You put a finger in there? Alright. Are you warming up? Excellent. It's right there, guys. Yep. So this is just to take our time. We'll go underneath the tongue, okay? Way in the back of your mouth. Almost is going to choke you in here. Under your tongue. Doing good. Doing good. There we go. Thank you. Hey, Monica, your vitals look good. That's good news, okay? Something's good. So we just got to warm you up a little bit. You mentioned, coming in your demo region. You rate that first hit on a scale 0 to 10. 10 being worse than ever. 9? Okay. That's generally not an area that we really check out. We let the hospital staff do that. But my next question would be, is if you want us to start an IV and possibly give you some pain medication. Okay. Your vitals are good, so I don't think we need to give you any fluids, otherwise I'd be a little more insistent with that IV. If you don't want any pain meds, I'm sorry with you, we can go ahead and just go into the hospital no further. Do you have a preference? Take the car to mail them out, mail a car? Okay. They're both good hospitals, so I'd say we just go for mail a car. And once you get there, you can get checked out. We can help you from there. Maybe contact the family. Okay? You don't happen to remember their names at all yet? Can I ask you again about Jason? Do you remember how to spell his last name? He's a medic? Yeah. Or is he a medic at? The Army? But he lives in Eau Claire with you? Does he live at the same address as you, or does he live somewhere else? No. Do you know what his last name is? Mendel? Do you know how to spell that? Take your time. You're not in any hurry. You can answer anything you got from there. ENGDL? Or just as good. Looks like you got a little scratch on there, but nothing's bleeding right now, okay? I'll talk to him. He's the one that's in charge here, so. Yeah, that's what he wants. We tried to see if we can get this, or if they could blanket that all. We can do that. You okay if we get the Sipples blanket wrap? Okay. We'll just slide that out from underneath you here. And you can boost up your bottom a little bit. You don't want to just pull it down, want to pull it anymore discomfort. We'll cancel. Butt up and slide it down like that. That way you should go down the floor. Sure, it's not a bit. Hold right back up here, alright? You're able to walk good. You didn't have any increased pain when you were walking your legs or anything, right? Yeah, you've got a little abrasion and scrape there. Nothing big, it's just a little bitty, that little guy right there, okay? I'm just going to put these belts back on you. I guess I just so you don't have to roll off our top while we're going. And we can get going just as soon as everybody's ready, okay? Are you okay just riding with me, or do you want one of the deputies to ride with us? It's totally up to you, Monica. You want me to ride with you? Absolutely, I can do that. I'm just going to go under your arm here, dear. There you go. Right back. Yep. Wait for the other deputy. And then we'll be going. He's coming. He'll be with us here shortly, an arm off. Just pull faster over there. There you go. Take a tight band here just around your arms, just to help the vein pop out, okay? That's in a 20. You're at IDs with that? Alright, you can do a full cover here in the arm. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well done. Needle out, just a little straw in your vein there that we can give medicine to. I'm going to have a little pressure here. Just make sure we clean the veins. We don't bleed. And this is just normal saline. This is just to make sure you get a good patent ID, which we do. Stick it down. And then we'll get that medicine to help with your nausea here in just a second, okay? There we go. This is open. This is just Zofran. Have you ever had this before? Sometimes they bring it to you in a pill form too with a doctor. This is just to help with your nausea, like I said. Antiemetic, it's pretty benign. And we're just going to flush out the IV again. That's just normal. Stop on it. Now you hold one of your arms. Do you have any medical conditions at all that I should be aware of? No? Just a healthy young girl, huh? Right now? Keep your arm up. We'll throw the blood pressure cuff on the other side, and then as soon as she is ready, take it off and roll. Now we'll switch this arm out. Are you warm enough now? Are you warm enough now? Yeah, it's so cold. Alright, keep right on you. Why don't we switch this shirt out? And then we'll get our blood pressure cuff on that arm, and then we'll put a nice one up. Okay, lift this arm up to the sleeve. Thank you. There you go. Perfect. There you go. You relax there. I'm just going to put this sensor back on a finger over here, okay? Do you happen to tell me your birthday? Do you know what your birthday is, dear?
October 6th.
Okay, October 6th. What year? Sounds great. Do you remember the year? 1998, 1999? 97? Okay. You said you were like 19, so.
DOB of October 6, 97.
you happen to remember your home address? No? Jason, remember earlier you were telling me about Jason? His last name start with an M or an E? An M? So it's Mengel? There's October 6th is 97. I know. How's your tummy feeling? That medicine should help you with your nausea at least. And I understand if you don't want any pain medication, but if you do decide you do want some, you can take some anytime, okay? We can give you some medicine to help with that pain, or we can give you some medicine to help you calm down a little bit too if you want that. I don't like seeing people uncomfortable. Did you just got hear it? There's blood back there. I don't feel a pump. You got muscle movement and shapes all over you, so I'm sure you don't feel it. I said, if you want something to kind of take the edge off, it'll be totally fine. Next time we check the bike, right, okay? I just move from here and touch your hair a little bit, right? You're not mad that you're not all about yourself, okay? Just let me know that, right? It makes you kind of stuck to you know what I mean? Am I close to where it's sore? Down farther? Like right in the neck of the wood? Alright, so good. Yeah, I don't see any cuts or anything, okay? No bleeding. That means I see you from my eye, okay? This is Ezra. You've been talking with him. Okay? So, because of our manpower issue right now, I need Ezra to follow you in the ambulance. Okay? So you won't be sitting right here, but you'll be right behind you this last part. Okay? All right? And we're going to make sure that you're taken good care of. And we'll figure out exactly what happened. We're going to keep you safe. Okay? You're safe right now. We're not going to let anything happen. Okay? There's nothing that was in and out of this ambulance. So I want to see it. There will be another car behind you. Look right out that window. All right? Good. So you'll be able to see him right out the back window, okay? So we're not going to far away. We'll only be about 15 minutes or so.
Judge, per the previous agreement, I stopped it at 42:36, and that's the portion that we intended to play.
All right. And do you have any additional evidence this morning?
No, Judge, our next witness is scheduled to be here at 1 o'clock.
All right.
I believe there's some other matters we probably need to take up as well between now and then.
All right. Let's put the lights back up. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give you a noon recess. I understand one of you has to be out of here by 5 tonight. I think that should be not a problem today. In fact, we're going to have maybe a few spots here where we're going to have larger breaks, but we're moving along, and again, the parties have worked well together to try and pare things down to actually shorten the overall time. But as a result of that, there may be some witnesses who had to travel and weren't available, just to be here right when the last witness was done. So that's why we scheduled the next witness for 1 p.m. today, and so we're a half an hour ahead of schedule on that, so that means you're going to get a little bit of a longer lunch break. I hope that isn't too hard, okay? All right, and we'll kind of, I think once we have a chance to talk here, then we can fill you in a little bit to give you maybe a little bit better idea, of when things will be coming to a conclusion and the case going to you. So we're still a little ways out to give you some real hard days and times, but I'm feeling confident it will be this week. And so we have to do some things and see how some witnesses go to give you a better idea. So it's as hard to forecast as the weather, let's put it that way. So with that, we're going to excuse you for lunch. All rise. Okay. Anything the council would like to put on the record, other than we'll go back and take care of the sidebars?
Judge, at some point, we're going to want to talk about Dr. Benson's report. The state has given me, I gave them a redacted version, they gave me a redacted version, I gave one back. We're still in the process of working that out. I haven't had a chance to talk with that with Ms. Vishny. If I'd probably need it, whenever we're done here, a 10-minute break, whether we want to do that before lunch or after lunch, I'll defer to your honor, but I just need a 10-minute break before we can go on the record with that. That's the only matter that I have.
All right. I don't know who is part of the state who wishes to address that.
I will be, Judge, and I have the most updated redacted version that has gone back and forth and then back again that I can provide to the court if you want to start reviewing that. There are blacked out areas which the parties agree should be redacted. There are yellow highlighted with a red line through them areas, which are also portions the parties agree should be redacted. There are some additional just yellow highlighted areas that the state believes should be redacted, and those are the areas we'll have to be, that we'll have to address with the court, as well as just the use of the defendant's statements to Mr. Benson or Dr. Benson in general. So I can provide the court this copy now if you want to
Yes.
do it before we come back in.
All right.
Just so we may agree, I just wasn't in a position yet to agree on the yellow highlighted portions. I wanted to think and discuss those matters, so it may be that we're in agreement.
All right. Okay, well, let's, just before we forget, just go back. Okay, I think there's just really one sidebar we have to address, and this was approximately 10:44 a.m. And the defense objection was that the questions that Mr. Dufour wanted to ask about the Instagram thread, particularly, and I can't remember the date of that thread, but it was where Ms. McCandless was communicating with Mr. Mengel about wanting to tell Alex off or what have you, and discuss punching him in the face. And we had a sidebar. Mr. Dufour, his position was you should be able to go into that because on redirect, Ms. Vishny had asked Ms. McCandless about why Alex would be afraid of him, and elicited testimony that essentially he would be afraid of him because she had information about what he talked about other coworkers at Racy's that he wouldn't want her to disclose, or he was afraid of that. The court allowed Mr. Dufour to go ahead and to revisit that particular thread where she told Mr. Mango that Alex was afraid of her. And so now I give, it's your objection, Ms. Vishney, so go ahead and make the record you'd like to make with respect to that.
Yeah, Judge, that was not within the scope of the redirect. The redirect simply asked why she said that Alex would be afraid of her. That did not answer the question that she had made some remarks earlier in the conversation. That clearly was not within the scope, and it should not have been permitted by this court.
All right, thank you. Mr.
Your
DeFore?
Honor, just to make clear, our response is essentially, it was in fact, she said why she's now saying it, why he should be afraid of her. We were trying to introduce an alternative reason that he would be afraid of her that she specifically wrote in writing, and that included that she'd punch him in the face and punch him in the, so it was impeaching what she claimed on her redirect.
All right, so again, that's the record on that. So now, because we may have to take up this matter related to Dr. Benson, I guess I would ask that council be back at 12:50. We'll break now for lunch, and so you'll have a little over an hour and 10 minutes or so. And then we'll, if hopefully you reach an agreement, but if not, then we can address that before we have Dr. Benson. Plan on Dr. Benson right at 1 o'clock then. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, then we'll be in recess.
Judge, I've got I'm giving the clerk.
Inclined to reconsider the first part of the sentence, but the state's position would be that the entire sentence should be removed. Clearly experienced a traumatizing event. I don't think that's really all that in dispute, but I think the opinion can be that she suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. That's the ultimate opinion. So I would just ask that the whole thing be removed, but I understand the court's.
Okay, well, I'm gonna leave it at that. I think that's fair. I don't like the language. I prefer that it was her behavior was consistent with, but we don't have that. But I don't think anyone disputes that it would be a traumatizing event, no matter whether the state's version is correct or the defense version is correct, frankly. Okay, what's the next part?
Page 3, I know in Your Honor's version, it appears as if there's not agreements, but on the version that we've now come to, there is an agreement. And so there's the version that will eventually be submitted. We're in agreement as to page 3.
Okay,
Judge, and I did provide the court a second copy. I don't know if
Yes.
you have two different versions.
I do have that. Thank you.
Same on page 5, Judge, there's an agreement as to the couple of words that are redacted there. And then
So
on,
there's an agreement on that?
correct, so the sentence should read, I am really good at distracting myself during the week, but there have been times I was reliving the event. And so the reference to where she was, that is her being in jail at that time, has been redacted.
Okay. Okay, then page 6.
And then on page 6, Judge, the words that Ms. McCandless said to Dr. Benson, we have agreed, I don't know what version Your Honor has, but what she has said is, we're in agreement on, it's the sentence that reads, there is no doubt that during the events of March 22nd, Ms. McCandless's sympathetic nervous system was activated by the presence of a perceived threat. That is the sentence that we are arguing about. The state wants that out. The defense believes that that is appropriate opinion testimony. As well as at the end of that paragraph, the sentence begins, this is a concise and expected description of her experience. Both sides agree that portion of the sentence stays in. The state would like excluded the second part, which reads, in response to a perceived threat of physical injury and sexual assault, if not both. The state is asking that that be excluded.
And just on that last sentence, I I don't think, I highlighted the second part of that last sentence because that's the objectionable part, but the first part of that sentence doesn't make any sense because the statement that is referring to has been redacted. So I think the whole sentence should come out.
You know, and in fact, Judge, I agree to that whole sentence coming out. It does not make sense with the portion that I agreed upon before, and so that last sentence, we agree, can be redacted. Should have read that clear before, but we still are in disagreement about the sentence regarding there is no doubt.
Well, again, that sounds like the language in Hazelton. And what's the state's argument on that?
Same thing, Judge, it's Hazeltine, it's going to, the no doubt is the language that's concerning, but it also, it says she had a perceived threat, and that's the whole crux of the case.
So if Your Honor is asking that the defense would concede, based upon Your Honor's prior ruling, that the phrase, "there is no doubt that," be excluded. The defense is asking that the rest of the sentence, his opinion essentially, quote, "during the events of March 22nd, Ms. McCandless' sympathetic nervous system was activated by the presence of a perceived threat," that stay in.
Okay, well, the court's ruling is going to be that there is no doubt that will be removed. You may leave in the sentence, "during the events of March 22nd, Ms. McCandless' sympathetic nervous system was activated," and then the court's going to order that by the presence of a perceived threat. That goes to the ultimate issue in this case.
So I understand by the presence of a perceived threat is excluded is what
Yes.
I'm hearing. Okay.
Yes.
Then I believe with those rulings, we are in agreement. The defense is not intending to elicit any hearsay testimony from Dr. Benson regarding statements that Ms. McCandless made to Dr. Benson about childhood trauma in any way, her relationship with Alex in any way, or her description of the event in question, that is, what happened on that muddy road or in the backseat of that car. So I agree, I'm not going to ask him for the content. It's my understanding that I do get to ask him, did you talk to her? Did she make statements? Just not get into the content of that. And so I'm not trying to elicit the hearsay, but I do intend to say, did you rely upon things that she said? That
All right, I don't think we completed that, though, on page 6. I think that sentence, which is the last sentence of the blacked-out paragraph.
my understanding, I
out.
agree to take that out.
Okay, that's
Sorry.
all right. Okay, then, anything further the state would like to say in response to the last thing that Mr. Nelson said?
No, Judge, if I could just have maybe 5 minutes to have a updated redacted version drafted and printed?
Sure.
Thank you.
That's fine. I think I will then just go in recess for that.